Hey guys, it's KillerPigeon back for another one of these videos, these daily vlogs. This is day number 8, and today I thought it'd be kind of cool to talk a little bit about the evolution of games as a product. You've probably seen plenty of videos that talk about the evolution of games and how we've come so far, and they usually tap into things about going into freemium models, this type of thing, but they focus on the games and not the overarching product, I think. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to tackle that a little bit, light thought for the day. Maybe gets a little bit deeper as we go. But basically, let's think back to how games began, right? So originally, it was just people, working in their basement, creating products, releasing them. They had to be sparkly, they had to be spangly, and they had to be fully functional, more or less, right? And those products would be released, and they were done. You move on to the next one. And as time has gone on, obviously, we got to the era of DLC everywhere, right? Where devs realized they could make more money after a product released, and then it got to a ridiculous degree where plans were being made for DLC before a product was released, and then the complaints began about that. And obviously, as these complaints pile up, it's on the devs to try and stay one step ahead. So what did we see next? We moved into the freemium/subscription model. And the whole concept, I think some people sometimes get wrapped up in the play to win aspect and all this sort of stuff. The whole notion of that move was obviously devious and making more money, but there's like an innocently smart logic in that you have to work harder as a dev to retain people's interest and thus keep getting their money, right? It's not a cash your check in and leave. It's kind of a how can I turn this into a consistent income, right? So there is kind of this argument that there's a higher barrier of quality that you have to pull over. You have to vault, should we say, and you have to consistently do that. But the trade-off is obviously you make a crap ton more money, right? So that's where devs win in that scenario. That's why it's become such a big thing. So those are kind of like the traditional things that we see and people understand. And I think something along the way that we definitely have overlooked, I think, as an audience, is something that certain devs are really smart at doing, is tapping our interest in one game and then siphoning into another. So this is the whole idea that games have to evolve beyond the last step, right? So games, as we said, started off just the standard, then got DLC, then create these freemium kind of, premium products where if people have more time, then they will spend less, right? Because like, let's say you're playing MMO, you spend more time, you don't have to buy as much. But if you don't have as much spare time, because you're doing other things, those other things might be making you more money, so you can funnel more money to kind of cheat sheet or fast forward your experience. But that's not enough, right? So now with the amount of competitors in the market, the amount of options that the players have, it's really important that once a game dev has your attention or a publisher has your attention and has your interest, they need to retain it. Steam has kind of proven this over many years, is that if you have people on your platform, they will stay loyal to your platform, they will be endeared by your platform. As long as they can find new products they're looking for on your platform, they will, for the most, stay there. They don't tend to venture out. They don't peer outside the house to see if there's a nicer one in the village, right? And this is kind of what we're now seeing devs start to understand a little bit more with integrations for places like Twitch, where you can get all this Twitch free Prime loot to entice you to come play their games. It's that temptation, it's that foot in the door, right? But then even stronger than that are what some devs are doing. So the likes of Blizzard is a perfect example of this. Blizzard targets you as a player in Overwatch and then tries to convert you as a player in Heroes of Storm or World of Warcraft as well, right? It's got these incentives such as unlocking mounts and cosmetics in different games from playing different games. That at one point they were very actively promoting this whole play 5 games of Overwatch, unlock a Heroes of Storm skin and vice versa to try and use Overwatch to boost up the Heroes of Storm numbers and keep that game afloat. And the whole idea is that a long time ago, let's say like Call of Duty 4, I play Call of Duty 4 and I'm done with Call of Duty 4. And now I want to play something else. I want to play a strategy game. So I'm going to go play Command & Conquer. Those are two different devs, right? With differing interests. So now that my attention's been drawn away from Call of Duty, I'm looking elsewhere. Whereas if you look at what, Battle.net has, I'm playing Call of Duty now and I want to play a strategy game, there's StarCraft and there's Warcraft. There's always other ones. The whole idea is that it keeps you in the ecosystem of the dev you're already looking at. And that's obviously beneficial because it means they're not having to worry about loss of money especially if we're talking about this situation where now the release is just step one, and then the byproduct is a continuation of content, right? Whether it's skins releasing, new seasons, maps, etc., DLC. So they want you always there. They want to make sure the big chunk of your wallet's going in there. And that's something that is just now evolving even further, right? Where to keep you interested, I think like Battle Royale's really opened up the market opportunity for this, where Fortnite done it, right? Where they had a product. To be fair, that product wasn't doing very well. Fortnite, I wouldn't say was like, wow, everyone loves it. A lot of people were getting over it quickly. But then they released a Battle Royale because everyone's crazy about Battle Royales. It was a hit, and then there's a rippling effect that when people come in looking at one game, they start looking at others, right? That's why Battle.net exists in its own bubble still the way it does. That's why EA puts all their products on Origin. Obviously, they own it, but it's the beneficial ripple effect, right? Where you can limit your competition there. You're not going to have, like, if people come in and they look for, they play Apex Legends, and they were looking for another FPS, they're not going to find Call of Duty there, they'll find Battlefield. So it's that whole idea that, it's upselling. I think the best way to describe it is upselling. It's you finding a way to get more money out of the player via like their time interest, which will just very passively, sometimes unnoticeably, people lead to them spending money or very aggressively spending money. And Battle Royales opened this up in a big way. We now see it with Call of Duty, where Call of Duty has created the Battle Royale Warzone. It'd be interesting to see what other games do when this continues, because we saw Counter-Strike release its own Battle Royale. I don't know how popular that has remained, but Counter-Strike didn't really need it because it was such a stable game at that stage anyway, and continues to grow. And you might see Valorant do this as well. I could actually see a world in which Valorant creates a Battle Royale scenario a few years down the line, because honestly, we saw, I think it was Realm Royale, that game attempted this idea of like class-based and abilities and kind of a more RPG approach. I'm not saying that Valorant is hard RPG, but I'd say there's more kind of impression made by abilities compared to a Battle Royale like Apex Legends. So, this is something that Riot could think of. But Riot, actually, Valorant, perfect kind of segue into that. We just discussed Battle.net and what that does. Have a look at what what Valorant's doing and what the whole ecosystem Riot is doing, right? They have all these games under one umbrella. You've got your MOBA, you've got your card game, you've got your auto chess game, FPS. Is there something I'm missing? There's probably something I'm missing. I feel like there is. If not, I'm sure there will be soon, right? This is the whole idea. They're creating this umbrella where right now, Valorant is having success for many different reasons, right? Whether you look at the fact that, Overwatch is on the decline, or at least it seems that way, and also you look at the things like people staying inside more right now. There's a lot of hype through the way that they've been very smart with their marketing in Twitch, which we discussed in the last video a little bit. And then obviously the biggest one is they've got this giant existing audience, especially through League of Legends, and it's them looking to convert that audience as their base audience, and that gets all attention on them, and then those people go out and convert more people, right? Because and that's actually the best way to think about this, is if you think about MOBAs especially, the way you get your new players a lot of time is existing players converting new players, right? So those players will come across, bring other people across, and it would just be them now bouncing back and forth between those two games, which benefits Riot because it means they don't have to worry about another company yoinking part of their potential revenue in a given year from one consumer. There are other ways, though. I would say one of the ones that comes to mind that we've seen recently with Blizzard again. I feel like I'm really focused on Blizzard, but I would say that they're kind of interesting the way they try and use the marketplace, because they have hit and misses, right? So the whole Diablo auction house was a mess, but then when you think about the way that they function now as an ecosystem, all those different games, that's an idea. Why don't they bring back something a bit like an auction house where you can cross-sell skins into different games and get currency on the platform that it can't be withdrawn from the platform, similar to what Steam Market does. Obviously, Steam Market, a bit different in that you do have the cosmetics, but you can buy literal products directly. I feel like there's something to be done there, but maybe Blizzard's a bit scared because of the backlash from Auction House. But focusing on what I was going to really say is to do with Warcraft Reforged, where Blizzard, I believe they still have it in there, the ownership of mods is theirs. Any of your good mods, they can convert the ideas. And that's them realizing that it's a potential gateway out if they don't lock it down, right? Is that devs have seen this. You saw how Dota 2 came around, right? It came from Warcraft. And now the Dota chess games coming out of Dota 2 itself. with the auto chess, everyone else copying the idea or stealing the idea. And this is another way that they try and lock the consumer into their ecosystem. Because now they have dictatorship over what will happen with the product. Dictatorship may be the mean word, but they can basically choose where the product goes next. I think looking at the future, that's going to be interesting to see if more games that still offer modding capabilities, because it's a rare and almost like mythological thing to expect out of a game nowadays for it to have modding support. If more devs will support that kind of notion, I believe we did see some with Skyrim where they were trying to monetize popular mods. So there's clearly a direction there, and once again, it is about gating the experience to stay within the developer's control. I think what would be interesting is if we see the continuation of like what I could call a conglomerate gaming society within big devs, right? Like we talked about Origin, you know, Steam will always have their Valve games, so they don't need to rely on that, they're so big. But look at GOG, right? There's no doubt that some traffic is drawn towards them because CD Projekt Red makes amazing Witcher games. If we look at Battle.net, especially though, and the continuation and the more products they put in there, and the more they kind of build this closed-in audience, I want to say, to an extent, it's going to be curious to see what will happen with smaller devs and if they feel the need to align themselves, I want to say, to counter that, right? Because I could see a situation where a bunch of very popular indie devs create their own sort of platform, right? Because Minecraft had their own website, right? Imagine if Minecraft plus the next 5 biggest indie games, something like Fast and Light, all these type of games, got together, create a client. How engaged would people be with that client? Because they were already willing to go separately somewhere else for Minecraft, and we already see people willing to go somewhere separately for Escape from Tarkov. What if those sort of companies combined and created their own client? What would be the effect, right? Where they could have some sort of rev share, or at least they control the community to an extent where, okay, you're going to do your sandbox game, I'm going to do my FPS game. I'd be intrigued to see if there is like a potential market for smaller devs to do that sort of alliance in the future. It's a bit tough to really read because I feel like a lot of the smaller devs do tend to get picked up or brought under the umbrella of a medium-sized publisher. I'm trying to think of the ones off the top of my head. This is the thing, that the type of publishers you don't remember the names of, but like then you see the list of games they've got and you're like, damn, they basically, they're representing, at this point they're just representing the devs, if anything. And I'd be intrigued to see how that side of things evolve. So that's going to be it for this video. I thought it'd just be interesting to look back at that because I think we all appreciate what happened with DLC, the freemium model, loot boxes. We didn't even get into that. It's like the whole other discussion that's been hitting too much. What I wanted to focus on is this idea of consumer integration and how they keep you in the same racetrack going around on their products. And I don't know, maybe it opened your eyes to something you didn't see before. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, as always. If you have any ideas for the next videos, be sure to leave them below, or feel free to slide into my DMs. But let me know what your thoughts are on this video. Let me know if you'd realize this yourself, if this is a wake-up call for you, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.